Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Dexbuild Podcast. I'm Matt. This is Andy. We're in a new setup. I don't know what this looks like for you yet because we don't know what it looks like yet, but welcome. So we got a lot to talk about. Andy and I have set a new miniature goal for ourselves, which is to see what happens if we try to shorten this up, but we have a lot of topics, so we'll see how it all breaks down. But most importantly, since we've last recorded, the Nintendo Switch 2 has been released, so that'll be the bulk of our conversation, because I imagine most of what we've been playing has been there, whether it's testing out old games, playing stuff in the virtual console or whatever they call it, and then obviously new stuff. So why don't you take me through, Andy, what your first week and change has looked like on the Nintendo Switch?
I've played a lot, which is quite the change of pace from how I've been on the PC or the PS5 lately. I think I've played it every single night. I did not get the the bundle with Mario Kart because initially I said I'm not looking for that kind of a grind right now in my life, and I don't have anybody to play in the house with me, so it's kind of not really my game currently. We'll circle back to that. So I started, the first thing I did was you ordered for me the GameCube controller, and I installed the GameCube emulator. I was going to do Wind Waker. I also got Deltarune, which I have since beat. We can kind of
we'll start there because that's what you played the most of. Well,
yep.
Yeah, let's talk about the games, and then I think at the end of the conversation, let's talk about the whole package of the Switch 2. But let's talk about Deltarune first.
Okay. So
I know nothing about it except I've played maybe 5 hours of Undertale.
Yeah, so it says it's a parallel story. I think I read after the fact that a lot of the characters from Undertale that might have been a boss or at least someone you fought is just like normal townspeople in this one. Okay. Which obviously didn't mean anything to me, and I talked to a few people here and there, but I didn't get enough of a background on them. I think I beat it in maybe just under 20 hours, which is about 4 or 5 hours a chapter. It's chapters 1 through 4. 1 and 2, I believe, came out a long time ago.
Yeah, like a year or two.
Yeah, and more.
Is this it? No. Is it over or is more coming?
No. Okay. More is coming. So I'm trying to think. It's a quirky little game. It is kind of mostly turn-based, but you can fight people, but they encourage you from the jump to actually befriend everyone and to not fight. And so anyone that you defeat without beating them, fighting them, will actually join your town, and then they come back to help you in different points. The story is... you kind of get a feel for where it's going pretty early on. You're a ragtag crew. It feels very much like a Breakfast Club situation where you're some outcast and you're coming together with your own stereotype, I guess, or what people think of you, and you kind of have your guard up, and then you let it down as you fight and work your way through the story with your group. So very familiar in that way.
I have a question for you, though, based on what you just said. So, first of all, it sounds, too, like Breakfast Club, and then from a game perspective, I don't know if you ever played Earthbound, but it seems like it's kind of influenced by that. But then, did you, to not fight someone, is that sort of like a puzzle? Like, you got to know something about them or do something a specific way, or how do you avoid combat?
So, every turn, you can do a check, and you can see what your plan needs to be. But really, it's so simple as you have an attack and you have, I don't know what the other column or what the other button's called, but that opens up a non-attack move, I guess.
Okay.
And usually there's one, if not two options, and you can try them both, or maybe you get it on the first go, but it'll build a percent. And once you get them to 100%, you can spare them, or you can actually make them fall asleep, and then someone in your party can essentially spare them that way also. So you're building a meter, and it's probably pretty random. It's not once you're in the gameplay, but on the outside, it's very random what'll do this.
Yeah.
what's really cool is they will still attack you. Obviously, they're not trying to befriend you, but
Sure.
at a certain point, one of the characters asked you, the main character, what the deal with the heart floating around the screen is, which your little heart is everywhere.
Yep.
Whenever you fight, you're on one side of the screen, they're on the other. Whenever they're attacking, your heart's in the center, inside of some kind of a something. You've probably
I
seen
remember
in
that.
previews.
Yeah.
So it's a really weird mechanic that when they're attacking, you have to move the heart within the confines of whatever shape is around it, and you're dodging the attacks. So it might be a bunch of swords, or it might be skulls, or circles,
Right.
or whatever it is. You've got to use your controller to like dodge them. It's really fun. Like I said, the story, it's endearing, and you kind of know where it's going. Chapters 1 and 2, you're getting used to it. 3, you've kind of settled into like the movement of the plot is at the end of it.
Mhm.
So you're kind of like, oh, get me through this. By 4, you're really like the characters have turned, and they're now best friends and all this, and like they're looking outside of their stereotypes.
Sure.
And it's more of a dramatic, kind of a powerful, emotional ending. But it obviously hasn't ended yet. So
I'm about to say, does it feel satisfying, or do you feel like you just like are kind of left hanging?
well, you know where it's going. So it's not just like the clear cliffhanger. Like, you know, whenever they're ready, you're still working toward a certain thing.
Sure.
I felt very happy to have done it by the end of it. I'm glad that I'd finished it. That could be just because maybe I was playing it, at least for my pace, a little quicker than I'm used to, and I might have started to burn myself out. But it's a fun game. Certainly one if you kind of played passively, it'd be a lot of fun. I mean, I'd recommend it if you're ever looking for something. It's worth it.
Well, what's nice to think about too is like going forward. I don't know if there's 2 more or 4 more chapters or whatever, but you're not going to be playing all 4 in a row, so it'd be paced a little bit differently.
Yeah. It would be different if I was only playing 2 chapters.
Right. Okay, cool. So that's 1 in. I think I'll do my off the wall one, and then we'll do ones where we come back together, the 2 that we've overlapped. So I don't even know if I told you I've been playing this, but
I've seen you.
I've been waiting for a lot of podcasts I follow have been mentioning the series called Rune Factory, which I don't know a ton about it, except that it is sort of a crossover of like a Stardew Valley or an Animal Crossing mixed with, like, for lack of better terms, like a Final Fantasy or like any other JRPG kind of game. So like, we're under attack from this evil, spirit, power up, go fight it off. What's cool is that one like begets the other. So like, you're farming to build up resources, to have materials, to build up your town, which ultimately gives you a blacksmith, which can power up your weapons, and that's like your home base. So characters you find will come back. People who live there, you can like level up relationships with them, which give you access to new things, right? So better weapons or better healing items or whatever that might be. But then in turn, you go out and you adventure around and you have missions and quests. It's not open-ended or just a sandbox, which is why I felt like it was a good entry point to me. So like, I don't dislike Stardew Valley. I totally get the appeal. It is it essentially invented to me like the cozy game genre. Like, it's got really nice like pixel art, cool music. The whole idea is like, I don't like the fast-paced like 9 to 5 grind. I want to go start a farm. Like, that's the story of the game. And you can beat Stardew, right? Like, there are things to do. You can get through a year. You can do whatever, hold off JoJo Martin, whatever. But overall, it's a sandbox. And if a game lacks like clear objectives and progress, like, usually I fall off of it eventually. But this has a story. There is an end. But all that farming mechanic is sort of like built into the game. So you still get the relaxing stuff, but as soon as that kind of gets old, okay, well, now it's time to venture out. I got to go beat these 2 bosses. The bosses are real-time fighting, so there's dodging. If you dodge in time, just like in Zelda, time kind of slows down. You can kind of do almost its version of like flurry attacks. There are quick swords or heavy swords. There's bows, so different kinds of weapons to fight with. It's good. I've liked it a lot. It's my first Rune Factory game. I've heard it's a good entry point. It's like the best the series has been in a while, so that's good. According to a lot of folks. So there are 5 mainline games, and then this is the first spinoff. So this is like the 6th entry. I'd say like the story is like, if you asked me what the story is right now, dude, I mean, I could tell you, but it's like the most generic RPG. Like, I'm a guy in a village who has amnesia. I dreamt about a dragon. Apparently, like, I'm the warrior who represents the dragon. There's another evil dragon and like a corresponding me that goes along with that, who I think we're going to stop. And the world has like a blight, and my job is to like, go around and like heal all the trees by fighting stuff and doing some kind of drum dance at all the trees, turn the world around. You know what I mean? Like the most generic plot, like AI made it up or something. But that's like not what it's about, right? Like at the end of the day, if you said the plot of Tears of the Kingdom, which is a fantastic game, it's not that different, right? Like on paper, I would just say like it lacks the same heart or like voice acting or whatever. But it is fully voice acted. The quality is really good though. Like menus are good. The combat feels good. It's a good game to have felt like the, 60 plus frames per second on the Switch. It's not super demanding, right? It's not like playing Cyberpunk on there, but it's super cartoony style, but everything is buttery smooth, crystal clear. So it's been a fun action game to kind of get my hands on, good entry to the series. And I just knew, I saw it was going to have like a launch date on Switch. So I decided, okay, now's time to jump in. So if all that kind of mix of genre is interesting to anyone listening, I think like I'd say it's a good one if you just want to have something on your Switch. This is kind of a weird time on Switch, right? Where like Donkey Kong's not out yet. None of the other big stuff is here yet. We've got Mario Kart. We've got the GameCube emulator, but like there's no big single player games. I think probably the same reason you went into Deltarune, right? So if anyone's looking for that, I'd say do it. It's not a game. It's not going to, I don't even know if it'll be in my top 10 at the end of the year. I don't know. But at the same time, I'm liking it a lot. Like I couldn't tell you a bunch of faults with it. I'm also, for a game like this, I don't know how long it is. I think it's like 40 hours. I'm probably 5 hours in. So I don't know if I really have the big picture yet. I'll fully know the gameplay loop. Like I'm still getting tutorial pop-ups, where I'm at. So once those go away and I understand the pace, it'll be better. I will say like early on, I stopped a lot because I was getting bored. It was so tutorial. And now I am getting to the point where like I'm playing longer stretches. I'm stopping and I'm coming back and being like, oh yeah, I'm in the middle of this quest. Whereas I used to be like, all right, let's get 30 minutes in so I can learn how to water my plants and make field tiles. It just is such a slow drip of tutorial. But I feel it's starting to pick up and I could see myself liking it more as that happens. But it's a good side one on Switch. So anyway, that's the separate stuff. I don't know if you got questions about that one. Otherwise, I was going to jump to Super Mario Kart first.
No, I don't have questions about that specifically, but being that I've been on the Switch every night for a decent chunk anyways, I usually see whenever you're popping on also, and I've seen you pop on and start playing that one a lot. So I'm a little surprised that you only put in about 4 or 5 hours, which is, we can kind of come back to this as after the games and talk about how are you using your Switch, but let's come back to it. But that's surprising to me. As much
you probably
as I've seen
see
you
it.
pop on.
It's a good segue because you probably see it because what I'm doing is like exactly what I was talking about, where I would play a little bit of it to get through some of the tutorial, and then I'd be like, all right, I want to go try to 3-star 150cc like one of the Grand Prix.
Yep.
And then I would either get that or go or try enough times and then switch back. So you probably see me in one or pop over to the other, but I'm usually like bouncing back and forth between the two games. So Mario Kart. You are in a weird position because I know you didn't play a ton of the old one other than like maybe with nephews and whatever, but like Mario Kart.
I skipped Switch entirely. I came from the Wii.
Okay, so 8 Deluxe is probably the best Mario Kart game. It was just like fully robust. And especially because they added all those, download packs or whatever, like a year ago, whenever they started dripping those out, that was, like there were so many maps, so many ways to play. It was just a great game. But it was still Mario Kart, right? Like Grand Prix, there's battle mode. You can race people online. It is what it is. I like that Mario Kart World came in with an idea about what it wanted to do in terms of bringing something new. So the two big things it brought that are new, one I love and one I think is entirely like innocuous and doesn't really do anything for me one way or the other. What I love, I want to start with the positive, is I talked to you about this a little earlier tonight, but knockout mode. Super awesome. Like online, I love it, and I love it in like single player, but you can, now there are 24 cars instead of what used to be 12 in Mario Kart, and knockout mode is a random route through the map. So I think it's 5 courses or whatever it is, that you hit, and you use like the actual roadways off of the courses to connect them. So, a track you might have done in Grand Prix where you at one point make a right turn, you're suddenly going left because you're going off road to go to the next map. But that's part of the collective race. And as the race progresses, you start with 24 and it'll say in the bottom, like top 20, move on. And eventually you'll get to a finish line that has like a big 20 in it. And like that's the one. If you get through it in 20th or better, you get to keep going. Those other 4 people are just automatically sent back to a lobby, which like from a, being online perspective is awesome because you're just immediately like in free roam again until you queue up and then you can race again. So there's not really downtime. It's a cool way to just kind of be like, I'm just racing. I'm having fun. But otherwise it gets so intense because then you're like, all right, 16 or better. And it's getting heated. You're getting close to finish lines. There's fucking shells flying around. You're getting zapped. Somebody's coming by and hitting, like jumping over you with a feather. You see people flying on shortcuts you didn't even know were there because there's so many people. So it's like fun chaos. And what's nice though is as you get closer to the end, because the amount of people is shrinking, the chaos is kind of like lessening. And by the time you're like in top 8, it's a little more like skill based, right? Because it's not like there's as many people to be bombing you constantly. Yep. But there's just so much intensity and you don't feel the stakes too bad because like finishing top 8 feels good because you still beat out, 16 people. And so I think before last night, my best finish had been like second. Last night I finally won my like first knockout online. Now I don't play it a ton. I've probably done 10 total online, but it's just a blast. It's like white knuckle, intense fun like the whole time where you're just like, oh, I got to get through this last checkpoint. And so all of a sudden somebody hits you with a red shell as you're like 40 feet from the finish and you're like, no. Mm-hmm. But it's like, because the stakes are so low and you're just like having fun, you don't really care. So love that. What I thought was gonna be awesome, I love the Forza Horizon games, which are like open world, drive around, find a race, beat people, level up. I thought this had the potential to do that. Go find Peach and she'll give you a little quest and you can do whatever. Dude, it's like not even a game mode on the home screen. Mm-hmm. It's like a hit start to go to free roam in the bottom right corner. You don't even realize it's there. And then when you hit it, you're just like, okay.
Now, is that where you would go searching for the P squares?
Yeah.
So I've heard a podcast or two talking about how there's potential there, but there's absolutely no way to track it. And so it's a nightmare. Yeah,
there's no way to track it. And that's how you unlock outfits, which is also not satisfying. So like when you win your first knockout online, Nintendo doesn't have achievements. So you're not getting a pop-up of that. They're giving you costumes based on like grabbing the meal bags, as you're going around tracks, maybe doing the P squares or like little tasks or finding peach coins. You're not really sure. That's in free roam. You don't get anything when you finish all the 100 cc or 150 cc's or any level cc's. No achievement, no costume, no car. It's like there's so much dopamine to dish out in this game and they don't do it at all. Like imagine if, hey, I finished all my 150 or my 50 cc races and they give you purple Yoshi. Like, cool. And that's how you unlock characters, is by doing that kind of stuff. Nope.
How do you unlock characters? Because I only did the one Grand Prix as a 50. I got Donkey Kong, which I didn't even realize he was locked. But
yeah, I don't even know if I have him. So when you drive around, you'll see sometimes these like meal bags, and you get like a meal instead of your normal things. I know those unlock it, and I think some of the challenges unlock it, and I think there are also peach coins in free roam, and I think they help unlock stuff. It's either that's all there is to unlock. Cars, which I think is just tied to the amount of coins you find, or it's characters and then the stickers you can put on your car, which you can only put one on at a time, and you can't even really see them, and they're stupid. So the unlockables are so silly, and to think like my motivation for free roam is to go and get stickers that I can't even see on my car. There is potential there. It's cool to hit a P switch, and your job is like, hey, wall riding skill, and your job is to like learn how to wall ride, get through like 3 checkpoints in X amount of time. I like those kind of challenges in games, but again, no framework
that
around
sounds like
it.
A Tony Hawk thing.
Exactly, dude. Exactly. That's what free roam should be. I think. Like, imagine if each of the 8 worlds or like areas was like a Tony Hawk, where it's like find the letters, cart KARZ around the map. Go do this like time trial with so and so. Like, And that's like something Nintendo excels in, is making like playgrounds fun, and they just don't do it. It's just like randomly for once now all the cart maps you can drive off of them and get to the other one, and they happen to put switches around it, and that's like all that free roam is. It's so disappointing. Now, could they fix it over time? Absolutely. And I actually bet they will, right? Like this game will probably last them 7+ years, just like 8 did. But to think that it's been 10 years since a new game, yes, they updated Deluxe and that's what made it so good. But this is the next title, and actually characters are all gone. It's all Mario Kart or Mario characters only. Like there's no Link, there's no Splatoon.
Who's the dark-haired girl? She's a starting character. I'd never
Daisy?
heard of her. No.
Start with an R. She's like Daisy, but Rosalina or whatever.
I don't know, maybe. For some reason, like a Barbara was coming to mind. I know that's not it, but like a name more like that. But yeah, I saw her. I was like, I don't know who this is.
But all the side people are gone, whereas like Hyrule was an entire Grand Prix in the last game. Now, the reality is they're coming back, right? Like they're going to drip feed all this stuff back. Yeah. But I don't mind that, but it's just weird that it's less than the last game. Like new game is less than Mario Kart 8, Deluxe. And
certainly,
again,
given the price, that's
exactly
less than ideal.
Now the performance is amazing.
Right.
Like it feels good. It's because that game is fast, so you feel like you feel the new resolution, you feel the new frame rates. It's crystal clear. It feels good in handheld. It feels good on TV. That's definitely all there. But I think this is a good segue to talk about the machine a little bit, and then we'll circle
don't do that
back
yet, because I think to your point of what you don't like about open world. Listening to Kind of Funny, and Greg was talking about him playing with his son, who at whatever 3, 4, whatever age he is. I think that makes a lot of sense, and is potentially, it's certainly something I'll take advantage of for sure. But like, no, it's not an achievable, winnable type thing. But given that Nintendo is something you play with your family, it's a playground where you don't have to be in a race. So like, you can play with your kid, and they're not just getting lit up left and right by everyone else in the race. They can just work a controller. Like, obviously that doesn't do something for everyone, but I think that's a very good use case for it. And
I agree with that, but like, why not have that be, and I know you agree with me, but I'm saying I think both of those can exist, right? Like you could be in free roam, but then when you go up and talk to a character, it initiates something, right? Like, but instead you can drive by Yoshi. He can just be chilling on the side of the road, and he doesn't even react to you. All you can do is jump on his head and like use him as something to jump off of. Like, why can you not interact with the people? Like, the idea of calling it Mario Kart World and it being open, I thought it'd be so cool, because maybe it's just me, but if you put the title World on a game, that takes it to like a level for me, because Super Mario World is like one of my all-time favorite games. That's just like a stamp that's like, this is it. Right, like this is what excels it to the next level. And to be like, we're going open world, baby, and it's like, cool. Like, it's gonna be like Mario 64, but Mario Kart style. Nope. Like, the open world is literally pointless.
Yeah, the open world, like all of that talk before launch, it seems like is nothing more than talk. But yeah.
And I didn't mind, like, you and I have similar feelings about open world, but the reason I felt safe about that with this game is like, you still knew it was gonna have all the Mario Kart stuff. Like, you knew you were gonna have Grand Prix, you knew you were gonna have online. It was never gonna take anything away, but instead it was adding, like, oh cool, I can just be in my car and drive and do stuff. No, I mean, you can, but just for fun. Like, you can drive backwards on the track because it's interesting, sort of, maybe, and there are cool places you can find, and it's a good way to like, what I do like about it is, I always feel like when I see people taking crazy shortcuts, it's like, well, I never have a chance to think about it, because anytime I pass a potential shortcut, I'm in a race and I can't really look at it. So it is cool to think like, I can go get on the track and actually like look around and be like, how do you go up there? How do I get up there and practice parts? Like, that's interesting, but why not have that be part of like you could have a story mode that's 2 to 5 hours long in the world, like, oh, you're a brand new kid in town, like, go join this little, whatever. Like, I was talking to a buddy about this. I don't know if you ever played on Game Boy. A company named Camelot made Mario Golf and Mario Tennis on Game Boy only. And it was like a story mode. So instead of like the one on N64 or on Switch or Wii, where just like play online against people, this was like I'm new to the golf club. Go talk to the boss. It was almost like Pokemon. And they'd be like, well, in order to play, you got to go beat the scrubs over on like the bad tennis courts across town. And you go beat them. And then you'd be like, oh, I'll give you your first badge. Now you can come back and play on these better courts. It's the same for golf. You got to beat the, it was like Golf Story. Did you ever play that one? Golf Story?
You talked about it a lot. Yeah, I remember it, but I never played it.
Same deal. So kind of like, all right, now I've beat the champ of this bad club. I get to go to a better club. And it was a cool way to like graduate. Do something like that with Mario Kart. Well, you got to go beat the scrub. You got to go beat the, all the villains or the Koopas. And, they'll let you then like go race against Bowser. And Bowser's going to do X, Y, Z. And that'll let you race Peach because see Freezer. And you have this chain reaction of like 5 Grand Prix you have to do. But it requires you to drive across town and find the people. Like, how hard would that have been to just have be on there to like get you acclimated to the open world, or to inspire you to find like go find 3 shortcuts on these tracks. Here are the ones, and it actually helps you learn how to do the online races better or something. Mm-hmm. Nintendo's usually pretty good about that. So it's just kind of sad to feel like the tracks are awesome. And I don't know if you've gotten there yet, but the final one, this is not a secret. You could see it if you look at it, but like the final race, of course, of the final track is Rainbow Road. And It is by a mile the coolest Rainbow Road they've ever done. Like, I remember just feeling like a kid again. I was like, oh shit, this is so cool. Like, you're like, is it over? Like, at the beginning, you're like, all right, cool, more Rainbow Road. And it just like keeps ramping up. And by the end, you're like, oh my God, they've done it. They've made Rainbow Road cooler. So the courses themselves are great. And the idea of like them adding more courses and maybe not just being like throwback or retro ones, that's exciting to me. But I really hope they do something with open world, and maybe that was like a placeholder, and then eventually they will launch some little campaign or DLC. But
yeah, for an $80 price tag, and obviously it being their launch title, they're going to do a lot with it. I'm actually, so the reason that I bought it is because I was watching Snowbike Mike play it, his stream, where he decided he was going to get 3 stars on everything using just the little wheel. And Piper was down there while I was watching it, and he is playing as the crab, and she's latched onto the crab. And so,
is that your car now?
No. But one of the other games I was playing is through the GameCube emulator, the Wind Waker.
Yep.
I was playing that the other day, and she was asking like, "Why is that boy doing this?" or "Why is that boy doing that?" And then she pretty quickly is like, "I want the crab." She's hollering, wanting to put that back on, and so that's kind of why. I didn't have the game at that point. She was just talking about watching it on TV. So that's why I went ahead and bought it. And I haven't really shown her the controller yet. Like, she finally found me playing Zelda. And so she kind of connected the controller to the TV and kind of ran over and started like hitting a few buttons just to see what they did.
Yep.
So I don't know when I will let her hold a controller, because it's a slippery slope, like not against her playing it, but once she realizes what it is, it's going to quickly become the only thing that she wants.
Yeah.
And I haven't figured out how to handle that yet. But as soon as I have some kind
of
an
if you're the crab, it might be cool though that she just actually wants to watch you play, which is double win for each of you though.
Sure. Yeah. I was only Shy Guy so far. And of course,
that's who I am too.
Like midnight.
I love just hearing him go, wow.
I'm just waiting to unlock. I saw someone's picture. I don't even really remember what the character was, but I think maybe it was a ghost with like a Dracula coat on or something like that. Whatever it was like all over his face.
Have you seen the Conctor? He's my favorite. He's like this bird with like a really tall neck. It's like way up above his cart. I love him. He's so goofy looking. Like his neck is longer than the length of his whole cart. It goes so far above the cart. Nice. Okay, so let's go to Wind Waker. So you're playing with the GameCube controller. I'm playing with, this is where I'd like to take a quick detour to talk specs. I'm playing with the Pro controller too, which I did not expect to be a step up, but man, it's a step up. The Pro controller I already think is one of the best controllers of all time. Also, I think I charged the battery on it like twice in the whole life cycle of the Switch, because it lasts like 500 hours, it feels like. But this new one, it's like this soft plastic. I like the white along the top. It feels so good.
I specifically don't like that.
Oh, I love that, dude. Because the all black is so like nondescript.
Sure, yeah, that's fine, but give it something better. Like, give it a fun color. Pick a.
Oh, they're gonna come milk us for all we're worth soon, for sure. Like they're gonna start having Zelda control. They're gonna get us.
Yeah.
They appled us a little bit too, which pisses me off. Like the fact that the original controller doesn't turn it on is some absolute bullshit. Because they could have made it do it, but they're like, "This is how we're gonna get people to buy the next one." It's just annoying enough, and it's like, you shitheads! Like to not have your system turn on when you turn on the controller is fucking so stupid.
So the other side of that, like I have that, so I do exactly that. I turn the TV on, and I hit the button, it turns on the switch, it turns on the TV. We're golden. But then whenever I turn it off, it doesn't help me get the TV off of that input. So I still have to get up to go. It's not even have the remote next to me because I've got the Apple TV. So I don't have that remote next to me at all times because I'm afraid I'll lose it. But so my TV remote, which does control the Apple TV, won't actually wake the Apple TV up.
Yep.
So I turn the TV on with the switch. I put the switch to sleep. I then still have to get up and go get the Apple TV remote just to kind of wake up the Apple TV, and then I can come back and sit down. So,
see, I always have it because to wake up the Apple, or mine's Google, but like I'm already hitting the home button on that because I'm gonna start using that controller anyway. But yeah, now the PlayStation does this thing I hate, which is like if the TV turns on, it invites itself to get turned on, even if the Switch is what turned my TV on. Mm-hmm. So you'll turn on your Switch, TV turns on, the PlayStation's like, boop, I'm ready. And you're like, fuck off. But if you turn that off, it takes the ability off for it to turn the TV on. But it does what you're talking about, where the PlayStation will turn the TV off when I turn it off. That's why it's doing that. But, whatever. But so anyway, I don't think we need to go long on hardware. I think we both said, like, I think the Switch feels good. The performance is awesome in hand. It's awesome on TV. I like the controller. Do you have a new Pro controller?
Yeah, I got that, and I got the GameCube. I only got the GameCube specifically because I didn't have games to play, and I skipped the GameCube as a generation. So I was like, this is where I'm going to go all in because I don't have anything else to play. At that time, I didn't really realize that there were only 3 games, and maybe not a ton of great ones that'll come. Like, I'm sure there'll be plenty, but maybe they're not plenty that I actually want to play. So we'll see. But
GameCube had a lot of good games, though. The problem is a lot of them like have been ported or remade or whatever. Now, my understanding, I want you to talk about Wind Waker because you're further, but they made a Wind Waker HD for the Wii U. And everyone's like, that's the definitive version. And so I think that's what's upset a lot of people is like, why aren't we at least getting that one? And why didn't they port it? Modernizing the controls would have been so simple. And this is one of those instances, as much as I just complained about Nintendo milking us for money, Mario Kart's overpriced. They made me buy a Pro controller because I was annoyed about the TV, whatever. I would love to give them $20, $40, $60 for a fully like updated Wind Waker where the controls do what you expect, whatever.
And you're not playing in 4x3.
Exactly. Like that's crazy that you have to do that. So
I told Brittany the other day, I was like, would you have thought that I bought a new console that I could play
the 20-year-old game
4x3? Now Wind Waker 4x3. Like I haven't even, the one race I did for Mario Kart is all that I've played full screen.
And you're probably, wow, this machine can do some stuff. You haven't even seen it yet. Okay, so talk to me about how you're feeling about Wind Waker.
Yeah, so what I was saying earlier, I think we've touched on the different Zelda games, but basically I went from Ocarina of Time, did not finish Majora's Mask, and then I don't think I touched another one until I got to Breath of the Wild. 2 very different games. I mean, since then I think I've done Link's Awakening.
You also did Skyward, right?
And Skyward Sword, yeah. Which it was the definitive one, I think, the HD, whatever.
But they made it for Switch, like they made it where you could play with the joystick rather than motion and all that.
Yeah. Well, I think it still was looking for you to do like certain.
No, it was, but I'm saying like it was Wii, so originally you had to do this, but they made it where you could do it with your joystick.
Yeah. So the thing that I like about it, because Breath of the Wild was, for me anyways, a very big uptick in difficulty. Basically all the way around. Like there were several just creatures like the Lionels or whatever that would just rock you if you didn't know how to do the dodge.
Yep.
Which I spent a lot of the game, like I missed that. Like when it tells you up front how to do it, I think I just barely did enough to get by, and then I never did it again. So that was a pain point for sure. But there were also many mini dungeons, and of the 4 bosses. There are parts that if I didn't have Google and I didn't go look it up. I don't know if you hear him snoring back there.
I do. I thought it was a door squeaking.
Yeah, I thought it might have been my nose for a second. If I didn't go look it up how to get through those, I don't know how I would have gotten through them. And it happened a lot. And so far I am 2 dungeons, for lack of a better word, in on, well, I'm still working the second on Wind Waker, and it feels much more like Ocarina of Time, where
Yeah, sure.
it's much more innocent. Obviously the art style, it'd be really weird looking like that if it was especially difficult. But yeah, what I was saying, you get into the dungeons, and when a door shuts and locks behind you, you're never really just like, I am lost. Like it just takes very brief thinking, and you still have to execute what your plan was,
Sure.
which might be made more difficult by the controller. And we've kind of talked about, like, there's nothing smooth about it. Like if you imagine the controls and their smoothness, smooth being a circle and clunky being a square, if that analogy kind of makes sense, there's nothing round about the controls here. It is very much like you're looking at the different angles.
Yeah.
Especially up front. Like I've kind of settled into where like you just move the thumbstick a little bit better and it helps that. But it's
that's the other thing, dude. The sensitivity is so strong.
Yeah,
like you turn your joystick and you're like, whoa,
Yeah, that's kind of what you adjust to. And we had to go in there and reset the controls because the inverse on something like that just ain't doing it. And there's even past that, whenever you are looking through like your grappling hook or your binocular or your telescope, that is still inverted, and that's a pain in the neck. Especially because the very first boss fight, you have to use the grappling hook and you're frantically running away from him, but then you've got to stop because you don't do it while you're moving. You stop and you got to look up and find it. Except your first move is actually not looking up. It's staring straight at the floor because you flipped it the wrong way. So
when I've heard the Wind Waker is like harder to control when it's inverted. So like, it's just like doubly annoying.
Is that the name of the boat?
I think so. Yeah.
The ship. Yeah. So that's one of the things. All these routes are considerably longer in this original version, which I just went top to bottom recently, and it did take a while, but it's fun. It's fun. I'll finish it for sure. I expect it's not going to be as good as Tears of the Kingdom, but it's also probably not a great flex of what the Switch can do. But
I am jealous of you about that, by the way, because I have done that. I've just jumped in for fun and grabbed the free update because it's the $10 thing. If you have Switch Online, gets you the bump for Tears of the Kingdom, and you'll never even be able to appreciate like what it is now, because like it would stutter. You couldn't see far away. It was like foggy to cover up some of the textures. And dude, it's like to play that game in 120 FPS or whatever it is, 60 at least, 60, is just like, oh my God. Like that's how it was meant to be done. So, and that game, I know some people like just have the nostalgia kind of thing for Breath of the Wild, but I think Tears of the Kingdom is 50% better. It's just such a good game. The dungeons are not like the dungeons are closer to classic dungeons. They're not like as confusing, that game rules.
Yeah. Well, I mean, patience. I'm not patient about a lot of things, but I said the entirety of that release that I was going to wait to play it on Switch 2. Granted, I thought the Switch 2, I was hoping the Switch 2 was coming out
2 years ago.
3 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to come out with that game, and obviously it didn't. But yeah.
I've only got one game this year that I'm like, you can't miss, and that's Clair Obscur. We got to get you in that before the end of the year because it's too good to not play this year. And Tears of the Kingdom, I mean, that's true of it too, but I understood why you wanted to wait.
Yeah. I've got a little mental matrix going. We can come to this when the what we're playing section, where I'm kind of like, I've got 3 games going right now, and I can't start a certain new one until I finish a certain current, so I don't have too many of the same types, kind of things like that.
Yep.
So we'll come back to that, but I'm curious, how are you playing your Switch? And maybe we ended on this one, just wrap up here 5 minutes or so, because I told you I've played more of this than I've played anything recently. And before, I just finally got it docked, cleaned up and docked a couple of days ago. I was doing it otherwise. All of Deltarune was handheld, basically. And I woke up with the migraine because I was like, I'm not used to staring at a screen for this long. I know a lot of people say if you bought it docked, I don't know why if you bought it to dock it, you probably didn't need to buy it outside of first party games.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care as much about that, but how are you playing? Are you doing the handheld more or are you docked more?
I mean, definitely, like, if you counted the hours, docked more. But I went to Louisville last weekend, brought it with me, played it, like, a lot at bedtime that night. And I actually bought a second dock. And right now, I thought I'd have the second dock down here in the basement. Eventually, it'll come to my computer or whatever. But right now, I actually put it in our bedroom, which sounds funny, but, like, my bedtime routine, my wife goes to bed way before me. And so what I often do is I put in an earbud, which is hooked up to my Chromecast, so I can hear in my ear, but she sleeps with a mask no matter what, like an eye mask. And it also plays like she's got a podcast, I think, when she falls asleep, or white noise or whatever it is. So I will put on a movie and I'll watch like half a movie, go to sleep, and finish the other half the next night, kind of thing, is like my routine, so that I'm like winding down. But it's so much easier to be tired and be already in bed. I can turn off the TV and then just go to sleep rather than watching in the living room. Switch has become that for me at nighttime. So I'll do it in handheld sometimes, but a lot of times I dock it and play it on the TV in there. So I've done a little bit of that. I've also, yesterday, for Father's Day, Janet was like, "Oh, do you want to hang out outside on the back deck?" And I was like, "Yeah, I really want to play Mario Kart though." So like, I'll Switch is perfect for that. And what I actually found myself do then, I mean, what this all comes down to is especially the right joystick. There's something about that, like where that is. It's like your hand's like this. So what I did was I actually did kickstand.
Hang on, where is it?
It's like, because the joystick's
You've got those spaghetti fingers going on, so I've just got to...
It's like down here. So like, because the A, the A, B, X, Y, all that's up above it. So you got to like, it's like down here when you're playing. And I mean, I feel it like in my hand, like in here and stuff. So, I Googled.
This is on a controller or this is handheld?
No, that's when I'm in handheld.
Okay, yeah, handheld's a nightmare.
Yeah, and so that's killing me. So then what I decided yesterday I wanted to do is I kickstanded, and I had my Pro controller, had the brightness up, the umbrella was out on the deck, and dude, I was able to play like Mac. I could see super well because it's such a big screen now. And now that the kickstand is that like dynamic kind rather than the Switch 1, the OLED was better, but the Switch 1, the kickstand came out like this far. So your screen was like, unless you were like directly in front of it, like it never slanted like up towards your face, So like if you're on an airplane or whatever, you'd have to like lay back because you couldn't see it. But now you can have it almost like flat, looking up at you with just like a slight tilt. It was really nice to play it that way. So I've played it like every which way, and I've been pretty happy with it. Now, when Hori or someone comes out with like, a custom snap-on that's like big and whatever, closer to like a Steam Deck, I'll do it. I told you immediately I had no reason to buy any kind of cases on my last Switch, so I didn't want to do it here, and I was kind of making fun of you for the kill switch. But now immediately, the way my hand feels, it's worse on this Switch than the last one even. I don't know why, but I would do it, if not just have that bulk on the back, if that would actually help. But it's not even really the thinness is part of the problem, but it's just that how they're stacked directly above each other rather than like flared out, with some grip. So I'll be buying some aftermarket Joy-Cons that let me have that if I'm going to play in handheld mode. But
my kill switch ought to be here. It ought to be shipping here very soon. I ended up getting it anyways, but it's funny as you said that your issue is like where a thumb would be. For me, handheld, it's these fingers on the back that are essentially kind of like doing one of these.
Yep.
And ever so often, like I'll catch myself where I've been holding it like this for a long time. And as soon as I think about it and I go to kind of move and kind of like do one of these, like multiple times I've taken it off and then I've gone straight into like a locked finger for like a half second where I'm like, oh my gosh, like it like very briefly feels like it's just like stuck in that position. And it kind of sends a panic through real quick. But
I don't love it.
That's not good.
Yeah, but I'd say I like the versatility, and I think it'll be great. I'm really impressed with the console. I think I was reading online. There's some things that are different, but essentially it's a little bit more powerful than a Steam Deck. I like that Nintendo can be kind of in the game now with a lot of first-party games. The idea of playing like an Elden Ring on there, or whatever, is cool. And to think like as other titles come out that like that mobility can be a possibility is cool. So, but let alone all the stuff they'll be able to do with first-party games. So, cool. All right, well, I think let's talk the other, like our biggest overlap. We obviously have a lot of different hours in this, but we've been playing Nightreign since our last podcast. I've got a lot of thoughts because I've played quite a bit. I think I'm probably 25 or so hours in. You're probably, what, 3 to 5, something like that?
4, yeah.
Yeah. So how are you feeling about it so far? We got our first win today, our first Night Lord as a group, me, you, and Brandon. So
we're officially gamers. I would still never play this game if not for our group. Now, like once they get duos, if you wanted to play, I would play.
Yep.
But where you've been playing on your own, not necessarily on your own. Like I know we've got a few buddies that you've been kind of pairing up with.
But I do also do randos. I'll do it whichever way.
Yeah, so like it's still, I would never do that because this is a game that I'm waiting for someone to tell me what to do because it stresses me out how fast you have to go. Like you asked today, I said something about like I had 2 smithing stones, but I couldn't upgrade.
Oh yeah, did you look what you needed to upgrade?
Yeah, and I was like, I don't have time to look and see if I can upgrade this because I barely even feel like I have time, knowing that the ballast is stacked. I know that's critical. And I don't even feel like I have enough time to just like look at the different things on the floor and see what they are.
Yep.
So to play a game where I feel like I can only play it while somebody else is telling me what to do, that's not my favorite way to play a game because it's just stress where there doesn't need to be stress.
Yep.
And so I think, especially now that there's been some reward to it, we won, like that's reason to come back. Like in golf, it takes one shot to make you want to come back. Like now there's incentive to keep doing it and getting better at it. And we've even got that little mini storyline thing going on. So I'm very happy to keep playing it 2 hours at a time, once a week. Yeah.
Yep.
That's probably where my review stops. Other than that, like it's obviously good. And I've seen a lot of clips of people having a lot of fun with it.
Mm-hmm.
But we knew going into it, it wasn't my kind of a game other than it being FromSoft and Elden Ring.
Yeah, you're almost liking it like despite what it is right now.
Yeah, and it's one of those, it doesn't matter what you're doing, it's who you're doing it with situations.
Yeah,
like,
I get that.
I could hate the game, but because we're having fun doing it,
yeah,
fine. So you better take it from there because it's going to score less than it needs to for me.
Well, no, I think that like what you hit on are the big keys. Like you are absolutely right. It's not like how you're playing it. It is speed. Now, like as you get used to it, you start to realize you do have a second to like open your menu and just double check things. Like it's not that big a deal, but I found what kind of worked for me, especially early on, is in playing with those randoms. A couple of your matches would be washes. You could tell immediately you were with 2 other people who didn't know what was happening and you weren't going to win. But more often you'd land and you could tell like someone was ready to take point. So I always love the matches where like I drop in with 2 randos and as we're landing, like I'm already seeing some get pinged. That's how I learned how to do it, right? Like then I started realizing the meta. Okay, like stay on the edges at the beginning because you're going to lose that territory. So if you've got interesting things near you on the edge, go knock those out and kind of spiral around it and start coming in because as it closes, you know what to look for. Then I started learning, okay, mines have your upgrade materials. You want to go for bosses, not little people, but get that first level. And you just start kind of getting all the rules, right? But it is like, what's interesting is it is the opposite of what I think like you and I like about Souls games, which is like, yes, they're hard, but as weird as it is to say, like there's a certain satisfying peacefulness to those games where like once you kill X amount of enemies, like you have that room to yourself and you can go look in the nooks and crannies, you can go up high, you can figure out like, how did I get up to that thing? Because they're not coming back and you can take your sweet ass time. Whereas this is like, go. It's like constantly go. Some gets in your way, whatever. If you die, you've left a level. And if you die because you are in the storm, not only have you lost a level, but you've left it in a spot you can't get to. Levels, as you know, are critical. Like, the fact we beat that boss where you and I were level 10, that's tough. I mean, you definitely should be like 11 is a little low for the final boss. It's like 12 or better is where you want to be on the Night Lords. So you just kind of start learning though, okay, by the end of day 1, we got to be 6 or 7. At the end of day 2, we got to at least be 10, if not 11 before the fight. So, because that last one will pop you up to 12 plus. And so you try to keep that cadence. You learn, hey, I don't need all churches. We don't need as much healing as we do all the experience and all that piles up. But I think what I like about it, and I like roguelites more than you, but we're still on a spectrum of like, there are people over here who just love them regardless. I like that the game will reset and I can keep playing forever and whatever. And then there's people like you where it's like, I gotta have a mission. I don't like the random nature of it. I don't really like roguelites. I'm probably like, if this was the middle, like a little bit like here toward you. So what I do like about it is how like it still is like very defined. Like there's an end to the game and you're probably going to get there in like 30 to 40 playtime hours, because it's like, get the first Night Lord, go through your remembrances, which are like the story pieces, which might have you fight a solo boss, might have you go find something on the map, might have you beat a couple of Night Lords, but you have like a story through line. And then also that it's ultimately, there are 8 bosses to beat. Check off that box for all of them. And if you want to have more fun, switch to a new character and do it with all of them, right? So you can get the remembrances for that character and so on and so forth. But it's still like, I feel like I've beaten Nightreign and I can walk away when I want to. Or I now wanted to go
right
do.
Now?
No, I'm saying like once I have beaten them all, I'll feel like I have. But then if I'm like, but for fun with you guys, you know, I can keep going because it's still fun for me to take a new character like Duchess, and I haven't done any of her remembrances. So now I'm learning all about her and getting all her perks and whatever. So it's almost like optionally replayable in a fun way. So I think that like that there is a clear end goal makes it feel less roguelite-y to me. But I also like the roguelite nature of it. Like I like that we're flying around, finding stuff, doing whatever, and that the RNG of it doesn't really ever screw you, right? Because your relics help you like kind of build what you need. So for example, we just talked about how tonight we know our next boss is weak to fire. Well, you've already got an item that makes sure your starting weapon has fire. And so at the very least, you can keep that on you, buy the stone you need to upgrade it and have it in your pocket, and you know that could get you through the end game. Right. And maybe you find a different, better fire weapon throughout. But I think that helps like mitigate some of the randomness, which is cool. And that those are permanent through runs also makes it feel like, oh, I lost all this cool stuff from this past run. You don't really feel that as much. I couldn't even tell you what weapons I was carrying around tonight. You know what I mean? Because it's not really about that. It's about the relics and what like I'm doing bleed damage or point like that stuff more than what the weapon is, you know?
Yeah. You said a thing early on there about you quickly learn what the meta of the game is. And I think this is a recurring theme for me. Destiny, I think, had it. There was a meta, and that's the only one I think I went in on. Like you get the same gun a million times over, but they've got different perks. And there was the meta as far as like, these are the perks that you really want. I think generally speaking, if you're talking about a game and there is a meta to it, that's probably my first out.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about that, but like when a game comes out and there's no right or wrong way to play it, but there is a right way to play it, it shoves it over into a corner in such a way where if you're not playing it this way, you're basically wasting your time because that's the best way to do it. And why wouldn't you do it the best way to do it?
Yeah, well, that's like min-maxing, right? Like at that point. But what's weird is like Nightreign can claim that it's not that, but it is, right? Because like if something does something faster than something else or better than something else in a game that's about crunching for time, then that's the better way to play it. Like it's not as, whereas like Elden Ring, okay, well now I've got these spirit summons, I've got this kind of skill, this kind of Ash of War, this kind of like element on my weapon, and you're truly synergizing it. And so there isn't a right or wrong.
Right.
But in this, it's not the case, right? Because the build is random. Like it's like you got to hit this stuff in this order at this speed. It's never good to fight mobs of trash enemies except for the very beginning, like because you are wasting time statistically speaking, you know. So that's the thing. So I get what you're saying.
I think a good example of that too is watching RKG. Like Elden Ring, there might be different synergies and things that work, but it's not as if you have to do those in order to succeed. Like you watch Rory go through and do his just nonsense. And if you've got enough patience to get through, you can make whatever you want to work. And I think that's a thing that I appreciate more. Like I'll go and I'll look for like best builds, and you should like I'll look for cues on like this weapon will ultimately get you to the place that you want to be, because I would rather know that going into it than end up doing the halberd thing every time over. Like you play with something you recognize, and then maybe you get to the end and realize like, well, there is a much cooler weapon out there that would have been a lot of fun.
Yeah. But I think like the other way I would try to think of it too, though, is like, say, you know, in Mario, like Mario is what Mario is, right? Like ultimately you have to play the game the way they want you to play it. And I get your point of like, yeah, but they're not like proposing that there are other things you can do, but ultimately you still need to run and jump like it because it works better. It just is what it is. But with that in mind, if we were to say like, okay, the point of Nightreign is like get this amount, like you need this amount of heals, you need this amount of levels, this is the best way to do it. And once you like are locked in on that being the path of like, all right, land, kill a camp, level up once, and then hit as many boss points of interest as you can outside where the circle will be, and then start spiraling toward the middle and make sure I'm at this level. Well, what does start to feel good is like you start understanding that the second you look at the map, you start being like, oh, these are close together. And it's when you start flying, like right now, you're still like, it's not second nature to be like, oh, there's a poop, like a bird poop wall, I can fly up it, or there's a spring, whatever. Like, but that starts coming to you, and there are the shifting earth events, which you just unlocked, which have like little mini dungeons and like raid kind of things you can do that get you yellow weapons and ultimate like gear that is like way cooler. Well, then you start like feeling it because like the whole group is flying around, and there is something then to like how good it feels to be fast and good at the same time, and you're getting stronger. So it's also like it doesn't have the same sort of like careful consideration that like a Elden Ring or Dark Souls boss has, right? Because like there's a little more forgiveness, and like because you got 3 people, somebody can revive you. Mm-hmm. I do think, let's talk about the positives for a second. I think they did a great job with that. Like I think the balance of the revives and the design of the bosses, like they actually made it, because we've talked about this before. I wish they would just make Elden Ring like a version of Elden Ring that's like a co-op game, and I'm not saying that's what this is, but like this has shown me they know how to create boss fights that are good for that. Because I think it's cool how like the Demi-Human Queen has like a big one and then like a little small fast one. And like tonight, for example, we naturally did this. Like you're the big tanky guy. You fought the slow guy by yourself while me and B danced with the other guy. Like
I never even saw the little guy.
Yeah, but that felt like that felt like, okay, well, we all have something to do. Yeah. And you're still having to like dodge and get your timings, which is the fun of Dark Souls, rather than if you summon me into a fight in Dark Souls 1, we're ganking the boss. We're just going in, we're hitting him, we're not even having to pay attention. Yeah. So I think they did a great job balancing that. And the fact of like, okay, well, I don't ever have time to learn the movesets. Well, you do, because you get revived, right? So even that final boss, we've only seen it, was that the second or third time we've seen that 3-dog boss?
2 play sessions worth, whatever that number ends up.
But I think like getting to it, I think we did almost every time. So let's say we saw it 3 times. We still by then knew, okay, he comes together. That's when we want to fight him, because like one of us can kind of be safely in the back, especially between me and you. Brandon's from afar shooting. When he splits up, like just try to survive. It's way harder to split the aggro. And so even though we only fought that guy 3 times, how long does it take to beat a hard Dark Souls boss normally, right? Like 10? Like you're running back in the room over and over. So they also balanced it well from that perspective of like, between the automatic revive, like items you can find, between the way we can revive each other, you still feel like you're slowly learning the moves. You could start seeing the big chain attacks. When he'd start forming the fireball, he's going to split. And like, so I do think they captured multiplayer Souls boss while maintaining the integrity of like, what is a Souls fight and what makes it fun? Well, for the bosses, I think that was like a hard thing to balance. And now I'm interested, like, will they ever go that route? Like make a true offline squad based game? And I think they're testing stuff. Like, really? I'm not mad. I know we've talked about this before, but with Duskbloods and this, like, are they losing the way? Well, I love that Miyazaki quickly was like, to be clear, these just happen to come back to back. Like a different group made Nightreign. This game didn't slow anything down. Miyazaki took like a lieutenant who had an idea and let him run loose with the IP, and that's awesome. Miyazaki didn't direct this game. He did direct Duskblood. So I expect like a different level of polish on that game. I'm more interested in Duskbloods, but like
I think I'm more interested now, for sure.
Yeah. But I'm also like, think about how fast they've been going. Like, yes, Elden Ring came out in 2022 or whatever it was. But the reality is they released a 60-hour DLC this year, or last year, Nightreign this year, Duskbloods next year. Like, they're cooking fast. So, like, we're going to get, I bet, another single-player game from them by 2027. That's pretty fast for how often they've been letting out games. And, like, the quality of all those. Like, Shadow of the Erd Tree was my second highest ranked game last year, as a DLC, and it felt like it had to be ranked. It's a 60-hour Souls game that was incredibly good. So I haven't lost faith. So I do hope they kind of find a way to incorporate it. Because my dream is still for you and I to be able to go together into a Souls game that is balanced to have multiplayer in it, but it's not PvP or online or some kind of spin on it. It's like classic Souls formula, but like go through the story together.
Yeah. That mod, we played it whenever it first came out. I mean, that's exactly what you said. It was a gang fest. It wasn't even fun.
Yeah, but like imagine it's that, but when you got to the boss fights, it was like actually these bosses, that'd be awesome. And I bet modders will do that. That's the other thing. So anyway. All right, lastly, we're doing pretty good on time. We've actually got all that in an hour. And now we just had our quick, like, what have we played and what have we been playing? So let's do your quick, give me like your 3 to 5 minute, if it even needs that long, Ender. You finished Ender, finally. I've been giving you shit since we started this channel.
Yeah. So we've shifted our approach just a little bit. And so I started playing a lot more Ender. It was few weeks ago now that I finished, so let me think. It was easier than I remember Ender Lilies being. I remember the end boss of Ender Lilies being like a 2-part or at least one directly into another. I'm not sure. And you can take that ending or you could do the true ending, and then there's something more complicated. And I'd struggled enough. I was like, get me out of here. I beat the game.
That's how I've been lately too. Yep.
Ender Magnolia, there was one moment where I took the difficulty down to easy. It was one boss, and I don't remember which one it is to tell you, but whenever I was Googling it, I saw a lot of Redditors were saying, like, this boss is just, it's unreasonable. A lot of people did the same thing. They took it down to easy just for that one. I walked into the very last boss fight knowing that I was probably near the end and got it on the first go, and this was back on normal. So I liked that because I had a lot of things backing up I was ready to get to. There is a whole memory loss thing working through the storyline that kind of resolves itself at the end, and I was happy with how that kind of worked its way out.
Did you feel like you followed the story in general?
In a weird way, like really not in a way that I could tell you like in great detail. I could give you very, very general.
But enough that it had like impact as you played it.
Impact might be a
strong word.
Too much credit. Yeah. I knew what was happening, which to be fair is not always the case.
Yeah.
But so it was good. I mean, like we saw reviews of people who talked about as far as getting around the map, they nailed it. You've got 18 different ways, like not literally, but you've got a million different ways to traverse the map. You've got any number of builds that you could put together, whether it's who your attack is, like if you use Nola or Nala as her kind of like scythe, axe, whatever, sword, or you pick up the ranged shooter and he can be your primary. Like, I didn't do that because that would change what this game is in an interesting way. I mean, if you wanted to play it for a second ending, maybe you go with him at that point. It was good. I would still highly recommend it. It's still exactly the kind of game that I'm looking for most right now. It's kind of led me to question whether or not whenever Silksong comes out, I've always imagined I was going to play that on the Switch because that kind of game, I wanted to just have it. Something about it feels like a Switch game, but at the same time, it's kind of got me wondering, like, well, maybe I do actually play it on something that can play it better. Like, not that the Switch will be worse on that kind of a game.
I must say, I think like the performance now should be pretty equal, especially if Pro Controller Switch letting you dock in one of your two places.
If the best I can do is 4K 60, then if I play it not on the Switch, then I can, like if I play it on the computer, for example, I don't have 4K monitor, but like I can get more out of it. And it's like, so do I want it? Do I want to play it where it feels like I ought to play it, or do I want to play it where it's actually going to be best? Anyways, that's all on that. I know you've already moved on from it. If you ever got bored and you find yourself in a point like I was, where I just wanted to play Hollow Knight, so give me a good game that plays like Hollow Knight all day. That one's up there.
Yeah, I think like at this point there's just so many of those games. I just wouldn't go back.
Which is a
like I would just
great
be like
thing,
next.
because
Yeah.
I might. The fact that you said that, I might actually hold. I don't know if hold your feet to the fire, or hold you to it. What? I might be coming because I need something, and not right now because I've already got my Matrix going, but I want more of that game. In fact, I'm very excited on the Switch. I've bookmarked the Metroid game, the new one that's going to come out.
Oh, but I mean, keep in mind that's a FPS. But yes.
Well, so the reason that I was excited, or I was thinking that I was excited, is because I thought that one, if you go through the eStore, there's different Metroid games. Some of them are first person, others are like that third person action adventure, more like a first person. I thought the new one was like that, or is it not?
No, I think it's an FPS, like, because you can use the new mouse with it. But like it still is a Metroid, right? Like where you get an item that lets you get into the new area. And Prime games are FPSs, and they are fun. Like Metroid Prime, they did a remaster of, and by the way, I think they gave it an update, and that would be something to consider is Metroid Prime, because it's fun and it's on Switch and it got like a performance update. But Dread, if you didn't play that one, that's the one I would do.
I didn't know, and I've thought about it. I've just kind of right now I'm stopping myself from playing anything that's not a Switch 2 title or a GameCube.
Yeah, or at least an
Switch 2
update
to play Switch 1. Yeah.
But I wonder if I bet they'll bump Dread, because everybody's gonna get hyped about the new one. I'd be surprised if it doesn't get a Switch 2 update. But
that'd be nice. So also, like I said, I've already done the Switch games. I'm now halfway through Doom.
Okay.
Which talk about the story have an impact. I've got no idea what is happening in Doom.
Dude, it took, if you watch my Let's Play, I'm like, it took me probably till like the 20th episode to understand who the good guys were. Like, I would just be like, dude, do I want to save her? Is she good? Am I with them? Or who are, because I actually thought there were like 3 factions for a while, but then I began to understand that like 2 of them are actually combined, and it's really the medieval people are good mostly. You're actually trying to help them. So, whatever. But it was pure fun. But I got to the point where
need a story.
Yeah, I got to which that's my biggest complaint. Like I told you, like there are points where you watch my Let's Play and I'm like, oh, why wouldn't we start with another 6-minute cutscene? Like this is exactly what I want in my Doom game. You know what I mean? Like I'm just like, why is there so many cutscenes in this? And similarly, at some point, and I know this is a little more sacrilege to like Doom fans potentially, but there'd be a point where I'd find one of those things that had like guns in them, and I'd literally be like, I don't want another gun. I don't need 2 versions of every gun. I don't want any of this. I literally ran out of upgrades, and I just left them because I was like, I already upgraded the 2 guns I care about, and the melee I care about, and the shield thing I care about. Yeah. Now, to be clear, I loved it. I liked it more than 2016. I loved it because like, dude, parrying felt awesome. There was nothing better than be like, bang, and like sending shit back at people, and then like throwing your buzzsaw. Oh, the window was wide, but you could close it. I didn't, but you could shrink the window.
Okay. I don't need to make it more complicated, but it's like if you were just looking at the thing and you hit
it's green, just hit the button whenever. Yes, it wasn't timed. I do wish you needed to be a little more time, because there'd be times where like the second the green would like leave their gun, I'd hit it, and it wouldn't even be anywhere near me, and it would just send it flying back,
Yeah.
But at the same token, like, I think that works because at some point there's so much happening on screen. Like, that's as quick as you can realistically have.
Yeah, there's a lot of commotion.
Time.
And to your point, tonight I was playing and I got the rocket launcher. And usually that's the kind of gun we are like, ooh. But I was just like, I don't need... Like, the best thing about the rocket launcher is that I can quick select it with the grenade launcher. I can just
so that's the funny thing is I remember getting the rocket launcher and literally being like, I thought I already had this, and not remembering it. Oh, I had a grenade launcher. Like, what fucking difference is that to me at this point?
Right, and I've already got the grenade launcher upgraded so that like 3 consecutive hits, it drops mini bombs, and it like it's.
Are you playing that on PC or PS5?
Yeah, no, PC.
Okay, so are you hitting numbers to switch guns or scrolling?
No, I am playing with the controller. I'm not doing
what? That is insane.
Yeah. No. No, so my system's not set up for mouse and keyboard right now. This is my keyboard or my mouse. My
you'd be fine.
Yeah. My other mouse is in the garage on the simulator right now.
It has buttons on it. I mean, reality, like I made like shit, can't see it. But I made like, my these be my like melee and my parries, and that was nice. But like otherwise I couldn't imagine. I mean, I played 2016 on controller, but going to
It's
like our
fine.
joking argument about Cyberpunk, like that is undeniably like as FPS as FPS gets, and like I can't imagine not having the Twitch shooting.
But like in Doom, there is no need to click heads. You
No,
shoot
no, but it's
anywhere
still
in the
easier.
right direction and you're making contact.
Yeah, they're definitely forgiving. And I'm
Especially with
assuming
the
there's a little bit
shotgun,
of
which everyone's got to be using the shotgun as one of their mains. Like if they're on the screen, you shoot. You're gonna
not
hit
me,
'em.
baby.
Well, that's crazy.
I was using that thing. My two main guns were and I don't know, this is probably not normal for people, but I loved Pulverizer, the one that would like crush skulls. As soon as I got the one, you get one, I don't know if you're there yet, but you get one that's like
I've got
really wide,
Pulverizer.
and eventually your second one is like a tighter spray of the skull like spray. So I love that. And then I used the energy gun because half of those people have the blue shields, and I knew I could just tear through
You
those.
just you use your shield throw and it does that.
No, I understand. I like the people with the blue shields. I can just fuck them up at full speed, and you get like a powerful, like tight version of that one. I like the Impaler too, the sniper, but that doesn't feel right in a Doom game. Like I'm not trying to hit people with a rifle, but I used the shotgun for a little bit. That would be like my third if I ran out of ammo for the ones I liked. But Pulverizer, you get one that like chains and gets stronger the longer you hold it, and dude, that thing would just rip people in half. Loved it.
Right.
Anyway, that game will probably be on my end of year list. So,
like I said, I'm on chapter 11. I know there's 22 chapters, so I'm halfway through. I no longer care about getting all of the secrets.
oh, no, that's nonsense.
Like once I'm there, like just at this point, let me just follow the objectives, and if it runs me into something, great. But
I like that it lets you do that though, because I was the same way. I was like, I don't care. At the beginning, I was like, oh, I didn't 100% the level. I should go back. And if it was like a 10-hour game, maybe I would have. But
right, yeah, it's a lot longer than I think it needs to be, but it is fun. So you also, because you don't keep track of the story, you don't have to do it all at once. Like you can just play however slowly you want to, and it's fine.
Yep.
But my other game is, I've not come back to the blueprints.
Yep.
I haven't come back to that yet, but I haven't uninstalled it either. But I have been playing more of The Last of Us, and this is kind of where I get into my Matrix. I don't know how far in. I guess I might be like 13 or 14 hours. I think before my last sit down, I think it told me my percent was like 33 or something like that, just on the PlayStation menu. That one is tricky for me because I don't know where I want to be when I play it. So the PlayStation was upstairs. I wasn't playing PlayStation unless it was right before bed. That's not really the game I want to play right before bed.
Sure.
I don't want to have the TV turned down so low that I can't hear things, but I also don't really want to be like on the edge of my seat sneaking when I'm about to go to bed. So it's really, it's just not a good fit for when do I want to play, where am I at when I play it. But it is still, I'm still having fun with it. I'm still enjoying the fact that you get sucked in and you stress yourself out, but you don't have to. As soon as you die once, you're like, it doesn't matter. Just load it up and try something different real quick.
Yep.
I like that you get a feel for what they're doing because they'll give you all the ammo. Like when you've probably shot a lot of people right after it, you're not going to be struggling. You're going to get your ammo back somewhere. I like all that stuff. It's another one that at any given point, I wouldn't be too upset if I said, all right, I played it. I see the gameplay. Let me just watch the show. Like I'm not planning to do that, but it is also it's going to be a long-standing blocker because I don't know when to play it, and also I've got so much more left. But like my Matrix I'm not going to start Tears of the Kingdom until I finish Last of Us.
Interesting, because those are not similar games.
But like long-term investments is how I'm looking at that.
Well, I understand, but one, to be fair, you've got like 15 hours left, and the other is like 100-hour game.
Yeah, well, I might have to think while you go through what the other ones in my Matrix were.
But Tears of the Kingdom, what's nice is like that absolutely is a great bedtime game. Like you could sit up there. Now you might end up staying up too late because like that's the thing about it is it's too good.
And
but it's relaxing.
I saw on your profile also you put some hours in that. You're like 120 plus on that game.
Oh yeah, and I'd venture to guess of people who beat it, I'm probably in like the bottom 20 percentile. You know, because like I didn't go find every Korok seed or any of that kind of stuff. I just like beat it and did some of the other stuff I was interested in. I also didn't like mainline the story, like because that'd probably be 60 to 80 hours. But like I put in like a healthy. I'd be like the main plus extras on how long to beat. You know.
Yeah. I think also, like, while I'm not going to start Tears of the Kingdom until I get Tilu done, I'm also not going to start Tears of the Kingdom until I've beaten Wind Waker. And to kind of go too much more into this...
No, that makes sense to me. Finish Wind Waker before you worry about it.
Yeah. I would have to know kind of what else I've already got installed on the different systems to tell you exactly, like, what I've got coming and when.
You got to get Clair Obscura in, man.
So that's on the list. Yeah, for sure. Oh, Lies of P. I got the DLC, so I'm ready to go with that one. But I don't think I'm going to start that one until I finish Doom and Demon Souls, which we need to talk Demon Souls. That's an offline
conversation. Yeah, I don't know what to do about that, but yeah.
The only other thing I've been playing is the demo on the Yacht Club Games deal. I played it today. I got to the second boss. And I died, but I was playing it while I was working, so I was like,
I think you could stop. Like, it's coming out in a few months. Like, you got it. You know, you see what it is.
That's what I thought. I was like, I died. I don't even want to play this boss a second time because, like, I get it.
Did you like it?
Think, yeah, it was fun. It is obviously fun. Playing it on this monitor, I felt like it needed to be smaller.
See, that feels like one I definitely want on Switch if it comes out at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But playing that on like the ultra wide, and it wasn't the entire screen, but something about it being on the screen right here in front of me, it's like it was too big for that art style. Like I needed it to be more condensed. I almost need to make sure that I do play it on Switch and I play it handheld on Switch. Like I don't.
Yeah, or like across your living room won't be as bad as being up on your monitor. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So I think Switch either way will be better. But I had the same thought because it's like you always have to remember that they do like NES style, not Super Nintendo. Like it's big blocks, you know, like 16-bit, you know, whatever. Is that what that is? Or is it even fewer bits? I don't remember. Anyway, I don't know about them bits.
One was like double. I think the Super was double the NES, but I don't remember.
Maybe it was 8 to 16 and this is 8-bit. Maybe that's what it is. Either way, same idea. And
yeah, because N64 was 64-bit, so I think I think it was maybe 16, 32, 30.
I gotta Google it. We can't mislead the people. I'm gonna put it right. Remember, how many bits NES?
I'm going 32.
8-bit. So I was right. 8 to 16.
Oh, NES. Sorry. So what was Super? Was it 16 or 32?
16. Yeah.
Okay.
So I think like what's cool is that like it did immediately have that like polish and feel of like Shovel Knight where I'm like, okay, this game's going to be a vibe. And I know you can't even like, I think eventually maybe you have like a hub. It was just like, I liked how it felt. It's also weird how it's like a platformer, even though it's 3D, like you still are platforming a little bit. And that's kind of cool. It's like, it's strange, but it works. And
the mechanic also at the end of the day is very interesting.
It is interesting, and I didn't expect it. Even though it's like in the name, it's not that crazy. Like the hollower, I was like, oh, that's what that means.
I never made that connection. I didn't even realize what I was doing until I did it like 3 times. I was like, oh, I can go under, like actually stay under and go under. Yeah.
Did you think you got stuck? Because I also got to this point where I was like, there's a rock in my way, and no one told me what to do. But I guess the point is you turn around, that guy's there, like, hey, do you know you can go underground? But that felt cool. And then obviously, you know, for me, as soon as I was suddenly, it was like, you died and you left your experience on the ground. I was like, is this a Souls-like? And it kind of is. Like there's some Souls-like elements to it.
Like it definitely restarted me, but I don't remember if I saw like that.
Yeah, if you die, it leaves like an orb with like your experience in it or whatever that currency is, the skulls or whatever they are.
I didn't realize till like the end, your checkpoints are the little holes. I didn't realize till after the first boss that you can dive right down in there and there's that little room for you.
I didn't know that either. I've never done it.
Well, there's like 5 different machines in there.
Yeah, I've never done it. I didn't even think about it because you walk over and it lights up, and when you first do it, you don't even know what it's doing.
Yeah,
you
I
know,
was
and
attacking it. It's like, is this gonna blow up? Like, what's going
you
on?
definitely don't know you can like burrow yet. So I never have gone back and done that. But now again, everything I do with that game, I'll now wait for the real one because it was one of those things I should have known with Yacht Club anyway. But now I get it, and it's like I'll obviously play this when it comes out, day one. And I think it's like September. It's not far off. Mina the Hollower release date October 31st, Halloween. So yeah, that'll be on the list. I also today downloaded a game called, I think I showed you this, or at least Brandon a little bit back, but a game called Cast and Chill. It's like a pixel art, mellow music, like fishing, upgrade materials, catch more fish, kind of like super chill game on Steam. It definitely feels like something that will come to Switch eventually. It'll be perfect for that. So I'll play that as a chill game. And otherwise I'll finish Rune Factory. I will go back. I'm going to finish Wind Waker. And then the next big one for me is probably Donkey Kong Bonanza. I'll definitely play that. Are you going to do that one?
Yeah, I pre-ordered that one. We've talked before about how like Donkey Kong's never been my speed.
Yeah.
But there's nothing coming right now. And like I said, where I'm not looking to play Switch 1 games, like that's just the next thing. So it's not bad because there's a nice window. Like that's what, like July 17th, July 30th, like it's mid-July, late July.
Mm-hmm.
So that gives me a chance to beat one of these in my little matrix here and then squeeze something else in because the list is only getting longer. I even added something today.
And it's quiet till the end of summer, but then the end of the year gets bonkers.
Let me see if I can figure out how to get to my wish list in the store. Because I bet you've heard of this game. The Altars. Have you heard of that?
I have.
I listened to Paris talk about that on today's Kind of Funny, and he was saying how much he loved it, and it's going to be one of his best games of the year.
Yeah, I want to say though, isn't it like a weird
like
survival game though, which doesn't feel like your kind of thing?
No, no, definitely doesn't. But it looked great. It's not even a full price game.
I saw that. Yeah, I'll have to peek at it. Because if you're gonna play it, I'm interested in, especially to your point, it's cheap right now.
Yeah.
Cast and Chill, I just saw is on sale because it's a part of a Steam Fishing Fest until June 23rd. So even though it just launched, it's on sale. So it's $11. I didn't realize I got it on that big of a sale today. But if anybody wants to take part in Steam Fishing Fest, all their fishing games are on sale right now. Yeah, let me see what the top one is. Whisker Waters for $4.99, an open world, story rich fishing game where you're a cat. It has mixed reviews on Steam. So go get it.
I've
Fishing Sim World, Bass Pro Shops. That's mostly positive.
Where do you recommend playing Clair Obscur?
On a powerful, just something powerful. But other than that, it doesn't really matter.
PC.
Yeah, because I made the mistake of
plugged into the same monitors.
Well, yeah, I mean, I wish it was on Twitch, but I played it on Xbox because it was on Game Pass, which I don't regret because it was awesome on PC. But when I played it on my Series S, which is not very powerful, I really had misjudged how pretty the game was until I got to see it on PC because it kind of just had that thing where, when games you drop the texture quality, it's not like they turn polygonal, but they become almost see-through. There's not a lot of details on them. It was that kind of thing. So then when I play on PC, I'd be like, oh wow, this is a really nice looking game. So, but in-ear systems are going to be fine wherever you're more likely to get to play it. Cause it's I want to say it's not a crazy long game, but still is a 30-hour game, Yeah. But man, to be you right now. That's the rare game that comes along where you're I wish I could erase my memory and play it for the first time,
Interesting.
It's so good, man. It's just so good.
Do you have any more for what you've been playing? Because I kind of want to circle back to something. We've got a few minutes here before we've come up on 90 minutes. Do you find yourself on your Switch ever just whenever I finish a game and I found a good stopping point, but I'm also not yet ready to turn it off, I just hop in the eStore and I just look and see what's out there. And it's so disappointing right now because it's the same old that's not available.
And it's a lot of garbage.
I spend so much time just flicking around the eStore. It's like Netflix. I don't know what I want to watch, and I end up not watching anything because 2 hours later, I'm still just flipping through to see what's there.
I used to do that on old Switch because on old Switch I used to literally at the pace of what they released, I used to be able to go in to like release order and catch up to like where I was, and I have seen like every game that had been in the store, you know. And I don't know if I'll ever get to that on the at this point on the Switch too. But also similarly to how like for a while on PS5 they still released PS4 games, like I need them to stop making Switch games. I need to know the new stuff is Switch 2. I don't want the red label to mean Switch 2. I want that to go away, and eventually they put them on the old games, you know, so like you know what you're getting. But I definitely have that where like I just want to be on the machine because I like being on it. But for the most part, I've got 2 games keeping me busy, and if I have that itch, it's like I'll go do a couple races in Mario Kart to keep going, as opposed to looking at shit that I know isn't going to be like right for me, or I don't know if it's properly updated or whatever. So
Yeah.
Yep. Well, that's all I got. I don't know if you got anything else.
No, I'll actually put that mental matrix on some paper and I'll show it to you.
Yeah, I want to see it. Send me a
'Cause
text.
I've got a
of it.
growing list of to plays, but I got to clear some stuff out first. I even got new. I was just looking at it. Who's the PlayStation robot? Astrobot.
Astro.
I got to
Yep.
get the Astrobot. I've still got to finish my Stellar Blade Platinum, which is easy for like while I'm working, like in between
Yep.
meetings, real quick. Just go get progress is all I got to
Something,
do.
yeah.
Just progress.
Yeah, you know what's going on.
But shoot. Yeah, I don't know what I was gonna say.
Mental Matrix.
Yeah, mental
But
matrix. The
yes.
Stellar Blade DLC. Are you playing that at all? I assume probably not. It's basically just like a boss and an outfit set.
No, if I hadn't done it, I would. But
Yeah.
I mean, I saw that the second one might be out like as soon as next year. I'm excited about that fact. But yeah, that's it. Well, if you guys didn't know, the Dexbuild Podcast, we're aiming to make this weekly now, so we hope to see you again next week. We'll let you know where Andy lands on his mental matrix, where he is in games, what we've been playing. I'll let you know how Cast and Chill is. In the meantime, thank you guys so much for watching. Hit the like button, helps out a ton. I forgot how all the stuff I say at the end. Hit subscribe, we want to have you around, blah, 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 blah. Leave comments. What are you playing? What should we play? Help Andy add to his mental matrix. Now, in the meantime, thanks for watching. We'll see you again next time.